That's right. How you doing? Hello,
Hi.
I'm Jess.
Hi Jess, I'm Matt.
Hey Matt. Have a seat.
Hello.
Hello, Caitlin.
Caitlin. Matt. Very nice to meet you, Caitlin. Do you mind if I record us?
Yeah, look at that cool thing. It's high tech. So high tech.
Check it out. Oh, I don't want to get all of this. Yeah, okay. Caitlin, you're a bit blurry, but I think that'll be alright. Like part of the effect.
I'm so bad.
So what should we do? Should we give ourselves another song?
Yeah, we're going to play an ad after this and then another song of Matthew David. We were a bit stressed for time and then two guests just pulled out. Do you know Katrina? They were doing the platform short.
Oh yeah,
thing.
they were performing with them last time. Doing platform shots tonight.
Oh, you're doing
There isn't everything.
well, maybe we can talk about that because they're not coming in anymore. They just cancelled. So.
Oh well, then we'll talk about it.
Talk about everything. I was in the audience, if that helps as well. There were biscuits. Yeah, there were like homemade biscuits and interval and orange slices and stuff.
That's awesome.
It was really cute.
So is there a different program? Are you going to keep performing the next?
No,
they're
different.
again.
The strings attached to the resident company will do the same like
I enjoy this cough button here.
Oh yeah.
So you just press it yourself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when you're going to cough.
It should just be a swear button.
Yeah,
Like,
a little mute button.
I can do that. I can mute you. If you start swearing. Actually,
yeah, we do what we want. We had no rules. What we want.
Ain't got none.
yeah,
So what are you guys doing? What's with this social futuristic dance? It's like the best description ever.
Oh shit.
What's that all about?
We're attempting it.
Yeah, what's the
Are you
deal?
trying to dance futuristic?
No, I mean it's very futuristic. What futuristic is like
Shiny and silver.
Are you going to do the robot?
Can we demonstrate on radio? You'll have to describe what we're physically doing.
Being a robot.
You see that awesome dance of the British Guard?
I'm doing
Dancing and twirling. It's like the full-on red with the guard and stuff, and he's walking us down in front of fucking pallets, and then he'd be like, he'd be like, start doing slow motion.
No!
And then he would do this like little twirl thing. It was like a 3.5-minute video.
and he's totally just like.
I think you're getting fired.
He's just like, I'm doing my thing, and I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah, and he does this little backwards like. Yeah.
He's like, I'm not technically breaking any
Well,
rules.
he does the 12, but he looks like a little toy twirl too.
But like the 12 kind of ends him like. Every
Vocabulary.
hit, he just has to twirl a little bit more and a little bit faster with a little more style.
He's like, I'm walking with pizzazz here. Little more pizzazz. Yeah.
Are you ready to?
Oh, are we talking already?
Yeah, you want
So I
to?
don't block
I
you.
can play another ad.
Are we going to do a break?
Not.
Yeah, let's do an ad. Let's do a break.
Okay.
This is fun. Just in case you get excited.
Oh my god!
Cosmic Cola there by Matthew David in honor of our new studio guests in the studio. As we mentioned before at the top of the show, Fringe Festival is about to take over our fine, fine city, and our latest guests are doing a new performance as part of Fringe. They're discovering all things social futuristic dance. Matt and Miranda, welcome to the show.
G'day.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So you guys are part of Form Dance Projects, is that right?
Yeah, kind of. Well, Form Dance Projects produce a lot of independent dance in Sydney, so they're producing our work.
And the you guys, along with Carl Scabara, are actually founding members of the Dance Makers Collective. So tell us, what is the Dance Makers Collective and what prompted you to create, I guess, your own collective to create these kinds of works?
Well, the Dance Makers Collective is a group of 10 young up-and-coming dancers and dance makers. And I guess it's a total response to a community need to just get some dance out there, from beginnings to studio playtime to all the way through to production. So Dance Makers Collective was just born out of us wanting to get started and get some stuff out there.
Now, the work that you're presenting with Form Dance Project is called Between 2 and 0. And now this is what we've been talking about this morning as a social dance for the future. What do you take that as, and what was your starting point for this project?
Matt?
We just began dancing together. I mean, that was the basis of our entire investigation, and there are a lot of structures already available, from Lindy Hop to ballroom to square dancing, where people can get together and dance. And we wanted to look for what could be the current version of that, because for people of our generation, a lot of dancing together excludes touching. So maybe that was just a primal physiological desire.
You just wanted to get hands on.
Pretty much.
And
pretty
this
much.
was the excuse.
Yeah, well, for so long, dance has been the excuse to spend time in close proximity with somebody that you have a chemistry with.
Mm.
And now what we don't have that structure to hide behind anymore. And so what would it look like if we did?
And I think so much social dance has, you're able to dance with another person because there's a set of rules and there's maybe a rhythmic structure and ways that you're supposed to interact. So I guess we were kind of imagining, what if we were to come up with a new set of rules, or just chuck the rules away entirely? How would we dance together? Because these people and their minds and bodies are so complex. How do you negotiate in the moment spontaneously? How do you dance with another complicated being? So I guess we're just imagining what that could be.
Did you have to take on personas? Because I imagine, that sort of Renaissance dance is all very English and proper, and you only touch with certain parts of your body, or it was very formulaic, whereas you have other forms of dance that's all about being loose and wild and kind of raucous. Did you have to come up with these little personas in order to work out the social ways you would engage through dance?
I don't think so. I think we're totally ourselves. Totally Miranda and Matt.
Yeah, but of course finding the pleasure of the dance. For me, the pleasure of dancing is the same as the pleasure of a roller coaster. And you get a build-up of effort or energy or time, and then you get the drop, and then you get the ride, and it whooshes you around, and you suddenly find yourself somewhere else. And when you've got another body to work with, you can amplify all of that. And so there are parts of our dance where we're dancing arm in arm, the way that it may look in a ballroom context or something, but then all of a sudden one of us will be lifted by the other one, and neither of us know that that's coming, and then it appears, and then it disappears. And so there's these moments of effervescence.
I guess dancing with another person, the stakes are higher because you don't know what they're going to do, and you don't know what they're going to do to you and your body. So the stakes are higher, but it's kind of heaps funner as well. It's so much better dancing with another person.
And it's also, I mean, as you said earlier, for such a long time it was a courtship ritual, the only socially prescribed way that you were going to touch, someone, and we've lost that. And I guess, and when you go out and dancing now, it's this kind of communal group activity. People are all kind of facing in the same direction. They're not even looking at each other a lot of the time. And in this context where we kind of live a very mediated lives online or through screens, are we losing that sense of personal connection? How do you bring that back through dance?
I think there's something very transcendent about knowing that the thing that you're watching another body execute, like they're using their body, the thing that they're using, you also have. And so whatever they're experiencing, the journey that they're going on, that's somehow innate within you as well, and available to you as well. I don't know if that's about empathy, kinetic empathy, or if it's about extending your physiological awareness, but I know that any times where I've felt above myself or beyond myself has come from a physical engagement, and usually it's with another person or a group of people, because it pushes you to somewhere you'll never go by yourself. And so I experience a lot of transcendence, actually.
We're in the studio right now with Matt Cornell and Miranda Wheen, and they are two members of the Dance Makers Collective. They're presenting Between 2 and 0. It's a new show that's going to be showing at Riverside Theatres very shortly. And we're just having a chat. We're going to have a little song break while we get our dance moves together for the next piece of the chat.
This is Laura Jean, Sister All I Have Are My Arms. New stuff from them. You are on 2SCR. Stay with us.
Everything's so creaky. It's a very live studio, so if you touch anything, you can hear it.
Can I ask you to do me a favour?
Yes,
Push
tell
that
me
little
what you
on
like.
button at the air for the air. Yeah.
So what was... I know everything.
A little bit of
So noisy. And we just like...
It's okay.
Ah.
Embrace.
So what was that like? Did you devise this kind of on the go? Did you just kind of have a few days where you guys just got together and decided to kind of go, what would this social dance look like?
Guess so.
I think it's a little bit more like, would you mind standing up? You can demo it. It's a little bit more like, okay, this is all of our ingredients. What would I do? I would probably do this. Or this. And then Miranda would respond in a way I don't know, and then all of a sudden that can lift and twist, and then we can be off again in a kind of waltzing pattern. So it was like that.
Did you both come at it with your own, like, I want to kind of do this style or this style? Or
No, I think it was
responding.
totally the opposite to that, because we have very different dance backgrounds, really, and different ways of moving. So it was totally just, let's have a jam, and let's kind of put some boundaries on it as well. Like these are it's like any social dance. You put down there's some rules and there's
No kissing.
also
Totally,
kicking.
No kicking, no kissing.
And so what are the rules, and do you come to it with like music in mind, or do you move first and then find music that's going to make sense for you?
We had some rehearsals down at Bangara Dance Studio on the wharf, and there was a day I remember where we had found some vocabulary, and I just kept putting on different songs, and we just had a jam to each one of those songs, and to see what it did to us. So that was one way. But then also, like we set down the rules, and then we see how many different variances can we find in these rules, and then one of us gets really excited by an idea that breaks the rules, and so we let it slip through.
And is it just the two of you on stage?
For this work, the whole show is actually 3 works.
Okay.
This is a 20-minute piece.
Yep.
And I'm doing a solo work, and then the cast giver has got a half an hour piece. So we're kind of doing the first half.
And what's your solo piece?
I'm kind of imagining it like 3 political portraits. It's kind of started with a piece I made last year. It was like a homage to Eddie O.D. A dance homage to Eddie.
Shut up! We have to talk about this! Are you serious?
Oh, we have 10 seconds.
Okay, is
We're
yours...
going to talk to Miranda about Eddie.
Is this called sketch?
No, mine's called It's Time.
Time.
Is it? No, don't check. It's not called It's Time.
You're on 2SCR 107.3 here on So Hot Right Now, your weekly dose of arts and culture. That was Laura Jean, Sister All I Have Here Are My Arms.
We've had a few arms getting some workouts here in the studio this morning.
A couple of live demos from our studio guests. We got a little mini performance of, they were describing how they put together this show of futuristic social dance. How do you develop a whole language of social formal dance for the future?
We're in the studio with Matt Cornell and Miranda Wheen, and they are both performing together in Between 2 and 0. It's one of 3 pieces that's premiering at Riverside Theatres on the 11th of September, and Now, there's 3 pieces in this show. Between 2 and 0 is one of them, and we've just been talking about that process of dance jam, the dance jam that you had really when you came together and, as you said, set some rules and then improvised and worked around it. Can you tell us what is that process like? And I'm really interested in the music. How do you find the right context in terms of that musical language to accompany the physical language that you develop?
You.
Okay, well, actually, Matt's probably the best person because he's also a composer. But from my experience, we just tried out a whole lot of music on top of what we were doing, but we let the music kind of enter into the dance as well. So of course, the music changes the way we dance, and so it was selecting a flavour of movement according to which track we were using, or so it was a really organic process of choosing the music. Actually, we ended up pretty inspired by a bit of David Bowie. It was pretty great, so that's made it into the show. And also a good friend of ours who's provided a beautiful track for part of the piece.
Her name's Corinne. She's I think she's just getting a lot of airplay now. Maybe we should have brought one of her songs, but she's about to gig in Tokyo. Corinne Aletto. But maybe her stage name is just Corinne. But the shorter piece we made last year, actually, we used another Sydney musician called James Brown, and he had a track that we settled on because, and correct me if this is not what you experienced, Miranda, but settled on that because it somehow facilitated the journey, or the taking you out of the usual pace of day-to-day life. That's what it felt like for me when we performed it.
And I think the music gives context to the dance as well, that it might suggest where we are or who we are, or that really kind of makes it much more theatrical, and I think gives the audience a few more clues as to what's going on stage. Contemporary dance is notoriously hard to read.
I did have a question about that because, it can be elusive for people like me who are very narrative driven, and we want a story, and we're in there looking for a pattern and trying to determine characters. Have you given a nod to that? Have you created some kind of narrative or story around between 1 and 0? Sorry, between 2 and 0.
Not so much. I think we've given a few little hints towards where these two people are, but I think this piece is really accessible to a general audience because seeing two people on stage, you read a relationship very quickly, and it's and we've offered a lot of texture and dynamic that I think is quite satisfying for the audience, and I think relieves them a little bit from having to really understand the piece.
Although you did say, I think when we were just talking before, that you had to create rules to kind of guide this structure, and there was no kissing, no inappropriate touching, and no kissing.
Yeah.
Although Matt did kick me in the shins yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm glad that happens with pro dancing. That makes me feel a bit better about myself.
There's blood and bruises.
Yeah.
Now this is Between 2 and 0 is one of 3 works that's going to be there at Riverside Theatres. Now you've also got a solo piece, Miranda, in the works, and this is fascinatingly a series of political portraits through the medium of dance. I'm completely intrigued. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I kind of love it because it's a bit ridiculous, making contemporary dance about politicians. So this piece is sort of born of a piece I made for Dance Makers Collective last year, which was kind of inspired by an imagining of what if Eddie O'Beid, the corrupt New South Wales Labor politician, were to dance, or what if I was to do a dance in homage to Eddie O'Beid. So it's a ridiculous proposition.
What if?
I know, really it makes the mind fly.
It is actually a really thrilling sort of idea for someone like me. Now, can you give us a hint as to who the portraits are of, or is that something you want to leave up to the audience's imagination?
I can give you a hint. There's 3 small portraits that I'm doing, and in the final one I'll be wearing a pair of Speedos.
Oh dear, I just got very excited about the prospect of that. What a celebration of a year in office. I hope to see this performed on the lawns of Parliament House very soon. Miranda, Wheen and Matt Cornell, thank you so much for joining us. The show is called, or the piece is called Between 2 and 0. It's part of a suite of works that will be presented at the Riverside Theatres in Parramatta from the 11th to the 13th of September. If you want more information, go to riversideparramatta.com.au. We, of course, will put all the information up on our website as well. And we're really excited to hear more from the Dance Makers Collective too. I believe you guys were credited as having the most significant event in dance in 2013 by Dance Australia magazine. Now, that's pretty major stuff. So
That was very cool.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I hope that the portraits and this piece are the most significant event of 2014.
Fingers crossed.
You're on So Hot right now on 2SCR. That's awesome. What was that?
Which one?
The most significant
That was
event in
the
dance.
Dance Makers Collective. So we did a suite of 10 pieces that we each made it 10 minutes of work.
That
Kind
was
of on each other.
We had
Was
some.
it?
We
Yeah,
had
was
that.
that at UNSW?
No, that was it.
That's
No,
IOU.
That was IOU.
Similar.
So it's kind of similar but different generation. Somehow. They're the generation above us.
Oh, really? Are they older than you guys?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Okay. And so what was the piece that you did 10, so it was 10 minutes from each of you?
Yeah.
So that was my piece. Actually, both of the pieces that we're doing this year kind of started. Matt created the duet for the two of us, and I
Yeah.
created the solo. So both of these pieces are kind of building on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, dance takes a long time. A really long time.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, true.
Cool though. Seeing it.
Oh, that's really exciting. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much for
To
having
have
us.
a chat, and we even got a demo.
Yeah.
It does not get better than that.
Can we come?
Like,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
I
should come.
totally want to come.
Awesome.
11th to
Thursday,
the
Friday,
13th.
Saturday.
It's 11th to the Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Fridays is a 12 o'clock matinee as well.
Oh, cool.
On the Friday there's a matinee.
Yeah, we're really excited about 12 o'clock tonight. After opening night.
It sucks. We have opening night, and then we have to be in the studio by 9:30 a.m. for
Yeah.
Chinese workshops, and then
Oh
on
geez.
stage by 12. It's a really shitty morning.
Oh no.
But it'll be good for you guys.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
can
What
come.
about closing night?
Yeah, it's true.
That's
It's true.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
Maybe we should go on first.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not going together.
Either one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to
Bye, nice to meet you.
Good luck.
Bye, Matt. Nice to meet you.
Bye.
See you on Thursday.
Yeah. Or Saturday.